All right, guys, good evening, and thanks for being here. Tonight, I'm here to introduce Performance Bloodwork. It's something that Emily and I are really excited to have at Brigade. We're doing this through a partnership that we've developed through Vitality Blueprint, and we're going to show you why we're so excited to bring this to Brigade. With Vitality Blueprint, the idea is simple, right? A lot of people are working really hard, but they're still missing clarity, right? They're training, they're trying to eat well, they're taking supplements, they're trying to improve sleep, recovery, things like that, but they're still feeling a little stuck, right? Tonight, I want to show you how better data can help create a smarter plan. And we're going to talk about Performance Bloodwork and how Vitality works. I'm going to walk through my results. Emily and I have both done it. We're going to walk through my results in the platform, show you that, and just how you can approach your training and just your improvement of your overall health with more precision. Okay. So a lot of people get blood work done. Most of us get blood work done, once a year, maybe once every 2 years with a wellness checkup. Sometimes we get lab results from outside. I get lab results from Optimize You fairly regularly, and that's a great thing. But in most cases, when we see our physician, the main purpose of that blood work is to look for disease or some sort of dysfunction, right? In other words, the question being asked is something medically wrong, right? Is this indicating a disease? Is this indicating an infection? Is this indicating that some organ is starting to fail, right? Is something medically wrong? Do we see signs of diabetes? Is there thyroid dysfunction or kidney function issues that are showing up, right? But just because something's not seriously wrong doesn't mean it's as good as it can be, right? And that's where we can kind of get frustrated with blood work. Your labs look normal, but you still don't feel perfect, right? Or great, or you still feel a little off, right? So maybe your labs are normal, according normal ranges, and you still have low energy, or you're not sleeping well, or you experience brain fog. Maybe you're struggling with stubborn fat loss, or you're not recovering well, that sort of thing, right? So the problem's not that the standard labs are useless. The problem is that the interpretation of the labs stops a little early, right? It stops short. And it tells us whether or not we're sick, but it doesn't always tell us whether we're functionally well, right? And those things are very different, right? That's the gap that Vitality is trying to close, right? Because if someone's doing a lot of the right things and still not getting results, the results they want, we need to get better insight, right? Not more guessing, not more random supplements, or just train more, or sleep more, more trial and error. We need better data and better interpretation to pinpoint what's going on. So what exactly is performance blood work? At its simplest level, performance blood work is a deeper, more useful way to look at what's happening inside your body. Since blood is flowing into every single organ in our body, it's going to give us insights into everything that's going on, right? Instead of looking at one marker at a time or asking like, is this technically normal? Performance blood work looks at patterns across multiple systems and asks, what may be limiting this person's performance? What may be limiting this person's recovery? What may be limiting this person's just overall wellness, right? And that matters because the body doesn't work in isolated pieces. Energy affects training, sleep affects hormones, inflammation affects recovery, stress affects digestion. Everything's connected. So performance blood work gives us a broader view. It helps us look at things like energy production, recovery capacity, inflammation, stress, hormone balance, nutrient balance, cardiovascular health, sleep patterns. So the goal is not for us just to collect more numbers, it's to use those numbers to gain better insight, right? And as I mentioned before, normal ranges is not necessarily optimal. So when you get blood work right now, you're given a normal range, and it's based on a bell curve, and 95% of people that are going to be inside that bell curve. There's outliers on either side, and if we're with standard deviation, that kind of thing. But we're looking at a cross section of Americans here. I mean, I don't want to just fall inside of normal. I'm not working this hard to be normal. I want to be optimal, right? Just because a marker falls inside a lab's reference range doesn't mean that I'm functioning at a high level. Let's look at insulin, for example. If your A1C is 5.6, which you'll see that mine is here when we look at it in the portal, that is considered in normal range, 5.6. But as soon as that turns into 5.7, that's pre-diabetic. Now, a doctor might point out, hey, 5.6, you're getting close to pre-diabetic. But if it's 5.4, they might not, right? They might not mention it. It's pretty, it's okay. You're 51, 5.4, you might want to tighten up your diet a little bit. Okay, so it's obviously not awesome, right? 5.4 isn't awesome, right? So we're wanting to get more deeper insight into what's in the normal range and then what's in the performance range or optimal range. So people go get labs done and they're told everything looks normal, but they still feel off. And it's not that the normal ranges are bad, and they serve a purpose. They tell us that we're not sick, but it doesn't help us figure out if we're well or not. Performance blood work is asking, is this person functioning as well as they could be? That's a very different lens to be looking through. There's a big difference between a body that's technically okay and a body that's operating well, right? A person can be inside a broad reference range and still have room for major improvement, and that's why this matters. Because we only look at whether or not someone's sick, we miss a chance to help them perform better. We want to start acting what would better look like, and what's standing in the way of that right now. Okay, so let's talk about the Vitality Blueprint and what it actually does. Vitality's not just labs, right? There are, I think it's 98 biomarkers. I put that in the slide. I'm pretty sure that's right. The real value is what happens after the blood draw. The platform takes this broad set of biomarkers and organizes them into something that's much more useful than a standard lab report. I don't know if you've looked at a standard lab report. It's got a little biomarkers, your number, and whether or not it's in range, right? And we're going to have that, but we're going to have a whole lot more insight. This helps us. This Vitality Blueprint will identify patterns, connect systems, and highlight what may be creating the biggest drag on your health. And instead of just dumping a bunch of numbers on you and saying good luck, it's designed to help you answer more practical questions like, what should I do next? Right? That's a big deal because the information itself is not enough. Most people don't just need more data. They need interpretation, they need prioritization, they need a plan. So that's what this platform is built to do, is to help you analyze all these biomarkers, organize them across multiple functional areas, and identify your main performance bottleneck, right? That's what we call, or Vitality Blueprint calls it, the key constraint, right? We look at your key constraint and we build a personalized protocol around that key constraint, giving you a clear roadmap for action, okay? Instead of guessing at what supplement to take, what nutritional intervention to do, what to do with your recovery, right? We're gonna identify exactly what is going on and what steps you can take to do first, right? We work on the first thing first, and then you can kind of move into more. And you'll see more as we get into the platform exactly what I'm talking about, okay? So like I said, the big idea is the key constraint. This is the biggest bottleneck first. Most people try to improve their health by doing everything at once. I'm going to clean up my diet. I'm going to add some supplements. I'm going to train more. I'm going to sleep more. I'm going to drink more water. stack all these habits, and none of that is bad. The problem is that when you try to fix everything at once, you lose focus, right? You get overwhelmed, you may be wasting your effort, and you may miss the biggest issue that's creating the most drag. In your effort to kind of tackle everything, you may not put enough focus on the thing that needs the most work. And Vitality calls that your key constraint. And in simple terms, the key constraint is the biggest factor limiting your performance, recovery, energy, and progress, right? That matters because, like I said before, the body works as a system. So if one part of the system is underperforming, it can affect a lot of other things downstream. So if sleep is poor, recovery suffers. If recovery suffers, training quality drops. If training quality drops, progress slows. If stress load stays high, hormones, energy, body composition, they can all take a hit. So instead of attacking 10 different things at once, the smarter move would be to identify the biggest limiter and focus on that. Get that squared away and move on to the next. That helps you create momentum, stop spinning your wheels. And this is why the concept's so valuable, because the better health is not always about doing more. It's about doing the right thing first. And the key constraint helps us reveal what we need to do first. What change is most likely to create momentum where we can get the biggest return for our efforts, right? And once the main bottleneck improves, a lot of other things just start improving on their own. We can see, when we look in my blood work, I'll show you kind of how that can start to cascade. But as energy gets better, recovery improves, training focus gets better, body composition gets better, all those sort of downstream effects start lining up. Okay. So what Vitality is looking at, I've got a lot of things on the screen here. You'll see those in the dashboard. One of the reasons this platform is so useful is it doesn't reduce your health into one or two lab markers. It looks across multiple systems that influence how you feel, how you recover, and how you perform. And that matters because in real life, we're not one-dimensional. Like I said, we're a system. If someone is tired, the answer isn't always, do you just need to sleep more? If someone's stuck with body composition issues and it's some stubborn fat, it's not always just, eat less calories, right? There could be hormone things going on. If someone's not recovering well, the answer is not just, adjust your training volume. Not always, right? It could be. So there's multiple systems interacting, and that's why this kind of analysis matters. Vitality looks at a broad picture across all these things on the screen and analyzes it, gives you kind of metrics all around that. This means a platform's designed to look broadly enough to help you identify where the real issue can be, right? It's not trying to overwhelm you with all the data, but it needs to look at lots of stuff to see if there's connections, if there's problems outside of one specific little thing. So poor recovery might connect to training, stress, sleep quality, hormones, nutrient. Stalled progress might connect to multiple systems that are creating drag at the same time. So value is that is helping us to stop thinking in silos, right? Is this just a training issue? Is this just a nutrition issue? Is this a hydration issue, right? We're going to look across all those silos to try to bring everything together into one big picture. So that brings us to, how Brigade can use this data. At Brigade, so once we have the information, we can help come up with a plan, right? We can help you sit down and interpret the data. The dashboard doesn't just create results, right? It gives us a roadmap to help guide you, and we can step in with the good sources for the supplements, ideas about how to fix those nutritions. My report will say you need to eat a Mediterranean diet. Okay, so now the coach knows. Oh, okay, well, this is what's going on. This person's going to need more fiber, more vegetables, more protein, those kinds of things. So training adjustments can also be seen there. That kind of thing. Hey guys. All right, so getting ready. Without further ado, now I want to show you what it actually looks like to be inside the platform, because at the end of the day, that's okay. So at my dashboard, when I first go in, I can see, and I'm the head person here. I'm a coach, so I can see the people that are underneath me. So I've got my blood work and Emily's blood work. But today we're going to look at mine. So when I first go in, and this is what any client would see as well. They'd see their dashboard. You see my performance journey when I started. This is my vitality score, 77. About 11 points lower than Emily's. My biological age is actually a little older than I am. So I've got some stuff going on. And we can see right here, front and center, is my key constraint: cardio, metabolic, and efficiency. If I click on this, what it's telling me, it's going to explain the cardio metabolic system made up of your heart and blood vessels. What's going on here is it's telling me, when I look at my related biomarkers, that my cholesterol is getting out of range, right? It's not great. Okay, so I can see each of these biomarkers, and there's some other ones that are in there. They're not quite in the performance range either. They're in the normal range, and it's got recommendations. So each of these I can click into as well. Opt for Mediterranean style meals. Get some associated foods, gives me more details about that. And if I even wanted to know more about it, it's got links to the medical journal articles. So I could literally click into that and read PubMed about it. So that's the key constraint. Get my cholesterol under control, okay? When you get your blood work back, it also asks you to set a performance goal. I said I want to, improve my muscle size, so it's got that here. It's got the biomarkers that are related to that. If I click on my performance goal, it's going to give me the recommendations: lifestyle, nutrition, supplements, creatine, high protein, prioritize sleep. Okay, so this is my main dashboard. Now I can move on over to my blood work. Blood work has the overview and the full results. So I've got my vitality score, my key constraint performance goal. And if I'm looking at my biomarkers in total here, and I told you guys 98 biomarkers, and that's because you're looking at, these are the actual tests, but they consider a bunch of the other things like ratios, also markers, and we'll look at those in a little bit. But I can see that toxic load is doing great. Sleep is also in green, so that's good. As I start to move into hydration, because it's just below 90, I'm starting to fall into kind of normal ranges. And so a lot of these guys are in normal ranges. It could be a little bit better, right? But I really want to go down here. Remember my key constraint. This is the lowest guy, cardiovascular. So the biggest thing I need to fix my cholesterol. Then if I go to the next thing up, I know what's coming up. These are some things like red blood count, high hematocrit, hemoglobin, and estradiol. These things I already know are sort of out of alignment because I do testosterone replacement therapy, and I hadn't given blood in a while before I did this. So my hematocrit and red blood cell counts and things were really high. This throws all these numbers off. So I know that next time I do this, if I get back on track and start going and donating blood and keeping my red blood cell count down, that these markers are going to fall into alignment. When I look at my inflammation next below that, cholesterol's the issue, right? And then energy was another one that wasn't awesome. Also, red blood cell, hematocrit. So those things will fall in line too by donating blood. So that's the overview. Now, if I want to get deeper, I can click on results, And now I see every single measurement that they took. The red ones are the ones that are outside. Blue or purple is in normal range. And then all my performance stuff's in green. I don't really need to worry about the stuff that's in green. Some other cool things I'll show you about the dashboard. You can click here and add historical. And you can put in and upload PDFs of your existing lab work, anything you already have. And what will happen is you can look at something. Let's see what I would have. Let's see if I can look at glucose. I can look at a trend and I can see my other glucose measurements and my other lab results. So that's really cool too. So this is kind of more, I think this is a way better way to be looking at your blood work than just a printout from your doc. Hemoglobin A1C, 5.6. I know it's almost out of range here. Recommendations: train regularly, limit simple carbohydrates, incorporate cinnamon. It's a new one. Berberine. I think Emily saw that on hers as well. So some lifestyle, it's all really great data here to identify what's going on. Okay, so that's blood work. Metrics. This is another cool piece. Mine is starting slowly loading. I just added it today. I added an integration with my Garmin watch. So it's starting to slowly pull in things like, this is my average sleep. So I can add in my in-body test results, right, and track those over time. I can go into this dashboard anytime I want to now. And then finally, it's just got you can print a report of your protocol, telling me I need more omega-3s, maybe should consider supplementing with garlic, creatine, Mediterranean style diet, all that kind of stuff. We could spend a whole lot of time. So who's this for? Honestly, I think it's for everybody at least once. I think everyone should have this sort of insight into their own blood work. But really, Vitality markets it to the person that's training hard but not recovering well. Somebody that has low energy or poor sleep and just isn't, getting any insight into that. Maybe somebody that's eating well, but their body composition isn't getting there. Maybe someone who's taking supplements but not really sure if they're doing the right thing. It's really for anybody that wants more clarity into what's going on inside their body and what's going on with their body. It's for people who want personalized strategy, for people who want to understand their body better. Yeah, it's just fantastic feedback. If you need more insight, you need a clear roadmap, this is what gives it to you. It's not magic, not shortcuts. It's not a replacement for discipline. Obviously, I got to get my cholesterol under control. So I know I had kind of gotten off the rails from probably October, until through February, and this was like a slap in the face. Hey, clean it up. So here's what we're doing. So we have this great partnership. If you go to vitalityblueprint.com, you'll see a single standard test is $425. And you would be able to buy that test and get the dashboard, get the insights, and DIY. We're able to offer this at $375. But for those of you on this webinar, they're allowing us, we're taking another $50 off that. We're able to get this down to $325 for you guys. And not only that, you get more than the test. So you get the test and the dashboard, but you also get the Brigade coaching staff. So if you do the test through us, then we're going to sit down with you and look at the results if you want to. We'll do in-bodies. We'll help you connect the Garmin's or your Fitbit or your Apple Watch. We'll help you interpret all this information and help you design a plan. And if you're a brigade member, we're going to even go one step farther. We're going to put you on our HSN app and help you track those habits and help you reach those goals with the app. So if you're not a brigade member, you can reach out to us if you're wanting more help with the habit tracking part. And when you come in to interpret the results with us, and you don't have to, you could just get the discount and do it all on your own. That's fine too. You can scan there. It takes you to our website. You can order it, and that'll order it through us. It takes a couple of days to get your orders, and you'll get emails about scheduling your lab draw. And then once you do your labs, I don't know, it takes 7 to 14 days for them to get all the lab work back in and process it and run it through and get it in the dashboard. But it's absolutely fantastic. So